Yo guys, what's going on? Kurt here with Kurt's Card Care, and I'd say the most common question that I find myself answering day in, day out, which I appreciate you asking because it just shows that you're taking these steps to improve your collection, is all around the word humidity. Should I put it in a humidor? Will humidity help? And it's a legit question, and working with humidity is great. I mean, it's literally just moisture-rich air, and the whole concept with humidity is, like, for example, guys, I live in Michigan, so it's like 80 and hot today, lots of humidity, but tomorrow it could be cold and 60 with zero humidity. And the point is, like, with our cards, whether they're, modern or vintage or plasticky, or super thin and rigid, they all have a bit of paper, some a little bit more than the others, but you can use humidity to help minor stuff. I've had times where people will show me a card that's all wrinkled, beat to death, and saying, hey, should I put this in the humidor? Probably not. You can give it a shot, but it's not going to do a ton. I like to use humidity for little tiny things. I'm going to go through each style of card with you right now and tell you what to do. All right? So I hope this answers a lot of the questions, and I just hope it gets you in the right direction. Okay? So let's go through these one by one. Number one, let's start with the actual device. I think sometimes when I talk about a humidor, it's totally normal that a lot of people might not understand what the heck that means or what it is. So what it is, you guys, is a little box that holds humidity. See, this is 73 degrees and it's 79 degrees. I don't have the air conditioner on, so it's a little warm in my house right now, but I'm always cold, so I like it warm. So anyways, this is the actual unit. Now, when you open it up, there is a cartridge inside, and this cartridge right here is full of, it's either got foam in it or little moisture absorbing beads, and you can fill it with distilled water. You can just take the cap off and fill that up, and then you can also put that back in there, and I'll show you something. I also use distilled water. Always use distilled water. Don't use tap water, because tap water has a lot of minerals and metals and stuff like that, and it can also make the inside of a humidor like full of mold and stuff like that. So you want to keep it sterile, so use distilled water. Then it will get up to 70%. That's where you want it, and you don't have to like fuss with it. It will just stay there. All right, so this little thing regulates itself, so we'll keep the humidity inside there at 70%. So that is step one. All right, so now let's walk through the cards. So when it comes to, think vintage, anything paper. This could be a Michael Jordan rookie or it could be a Willie Mays rookie. They really didn't do much with cards different between all these generations. So sometimes, like, if a card like this has, let's just see here for, like, on Bill Cartwright here, we have like a little dent right there. Okay, little dent. Now, if you just want to be hands-free with it, you could put this thing in the humidor. I'd say thin cards, remember, thinner the card, the lower amount of time needed in the humidor, because it will soak in the moist air faster. Now, little things like that, right there in my light, I think humidity could lift that up, okay? And if I keep this in here for a half hour and it doesn't lift up all the way, then I can come in and put a penny sleeve on top of it and gently do some like rounds with my corner tool on it and generally get it to go away. But if you see creases and heavy stuff all over a card, that's usually, guys, when I'll just skip the humidity and go right to the card spray, because it's just not going to do enough. Like, for example, when I have like an old Gaudi with all the wrinkles on it, that's too far gone. It's not going to do anything in the humidor. It maybe if it kept it in there for days and days and days, but that's too much stress on a card. You don't want to keep it in there for days and days and days. So paper cards, that's the rundown. I'd say every 30 minutes, check them. And if you have like a little bit of a ding or a dent on the corner, putting it in humidity first is helpful because it makes the card a little bit softer. So if you had a little ding or dent on the corner and you're in a dry area and you start working on it, there's a chance you could crack it, okay? So 30 minutes of humidity first, you take it out, it'll probably look the same, but then you use your tool and you work on it and get it in the right position, okay? So that's with paper. So now, let's do any modern era card that's thick. Think of your patch cards, your RPA, stuff like that. Now, what humidity will do with these, because they have a mainly paper, but they do have a plastic finish. If you ever have like little dents or dings or little edge lifts, again, you can definitely use the card tool to help smooth that out, but to give you a little bit of jump start, putting a card like this in the Humidor for, see, it's a thicker card, so you could go 35 minutes, an hour, and then take it out and then do your corner and edge work. It will be a lot easier to move around for you, okay? It's just more gentle on the card. You won't crack the edges or the paint off the card. Now, another thing, there's a lot of random like on-card dents and dings. Like you see that? Look right in this area right here, okay? You see how we have a indent? That is awesome for humidity. Okay, so you put a card, because there's not really much you can do. You got to get this to lift up. You got to get that dent out of there. So you'd put this card in the Humidor face down, and I always suggest putting a penny sleeve down at the bottom of the Humidor too, so the card's not resting on the actual surface, it's sitting on plastic. And you could literally, guys, leave this card in the Humidor for probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours at a time. And if that's not packed in there super duper tight, you can get that to lift up. Now, when you open the lid of the Humidor and you're like, oh, I can still see it a little bit, now you got to get to work. So you put a different penny sleeve on there, and you don't put the card in a penny sleeve, you put a one over it. Forget all the stickers and stuff if you don't mind. But then you would just start to do your gentle massages over that area. So now by this time the card's a little bit softer, so it should easily go back to its normal shape than just trying to go at it right away. So that's what you do on a modern era card, thick card, patch card, RPA style, all right? Prism, Optic, Chrome, Bowman's Best, whatever. All of these cards are virtually the exact same, and they're rigid, all right? So humidity soaks into areas that moisture can go into. Plastic is waterproof, okay? So I get pictures, guys, and I know they suck, but you'll send me pictures of these modern era cards with a big old bevel or a big old ding in it. You know, sometimes you can flip that card over and massage the back of it and try to get that to go forward, but humidity is really not going to do a whole lot for you when it comes to that. However, if you ever have little nail marks or little indents, just like we showed you on the thick card, same rule applies. So what you do with this card is if you had a little, well, it's not a very valuable card to me, so let me just make an example. So that's how you practice. Shove your nail into a card like that, okay? I want you guys to do that like often. Get some base cards, make some stuff like this, put it in humidity, and you guys, just that might, the Humidor might even lift that out, that little thing. This is, even though it's thin, just like our vintage stock cards, most vintage cards are very thin. However, this thing is very rigid. It's covered in a plastic front and it's covered in a plastic back. So this card, you could put in the Humidor for probably an hour at a time, and that thing might even lift up. But let me tell you, anytime you see one of those things right there, go humidity first, put the penny sleeve on the back, massage it. I am confident saying, you guys, and I'm conservative when it comes to expectations, I think you should be able to get those almost out all the time, okay? And those are all over the place. So that's your trick, or it's not even a trick, it's just the proper method for a modern era card like that, okay? Finally, guys, for my TCG Pokemon crew and all the good people in that community, these are tough. Pokemon cards are super nice to clean up. You know, if you use the spray or polish, they work great. And if you have creases going across Pokemon cards, guys, frankly, I'm not very good at getting those out. That's why I don't have any videos like that. They're very hard to remove a permanent crease. But you're gonna see little things on Pokemon cards like, let me just create a little damage here. You'll see like these little edge lifts, or almost like where people were playing them, you know, and just use your imagination for me. But if you have little lifts or little, sometimes Pokemon cards will too have like a phantom little dip in it, you know, where it's not creased, but it's just a little dip. So when that's the case, guys, I would go humidity for 30 minutes. And then when you take it out, you can do the same thing. You can put the sleeve over it, massage. Now if the dent's on the front, that means it's pushing through to the back. So you'd put the sleeve on it and gently work the back of it, and it would get it to go forward a little bit. Other times, you guys, I'll just say take it out of the Humidor and put it between some plastic plates and hold it, let it remain flat, because you're just training it to go back in its natural position. And you can do this with most of the cards that I showed you. However, if you're going to put something between a plate and it's a thick card, what you just want to be really careful of is you do not want to put a thick card between plates and then clip the edges down, because you'll round the card out. If you need to fix an edge or a corner on a thick card, feel free to put it between the plates, but also just puts, rather than clipping the edges or corners, just put maybe a 1 to 2 pound weight on top so it holds everything in place. You don't want to smash the cards. That'll open up a whole new set of things you got to work on. So don't smash them, just retain them. These plates I use are definitely not made to like smash a card back into a pancake. It's just to hold the fixing or hold the work that you're trying to do. So that's what you do with a Pokemon and Humidity, okay? So let's review. Distilled water only. It sets itself to 70%. You see how mine's at 77 right now? It's because I sprayed it. It's going to take probably a half hour, but it'll tune down. It'll go back down to 70. It's going to release some of that in there, okay? And that's the stuff that I use Humidity on. So I hope that explanation gets you going in the right direction. The Humidor is not like a magic easy bake oven that you put a damaged card in and out comes perfect. It's really like just an extra tool to help give a little bit of moisture to a card that needs to have some work done on it. I care about cards tremendously, and that's why I spend so much time educating you on how to take care of them and how to work on them and things like that. And just the Humidity makes it a little bit easier for structural work. And sometimes you don't even have to use your hands, man. Sometimes on those little dings and stuff like that, they'll just lift right up. But hit me with questions anytime. The website's kurtzcardcare.com. If you're on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, guys, message me anytime. I'll always reply to all your questions. But I hope this one helps, and it's a very good tool. It's safe to use. I also get asked, will it mess up autographs? Nope, it won't mess up an autograph. And I'm trying to think. I think that covers about a lot of the bases, but I'm sure I could have missed something. So feel free to message me anytime. Appreciate the love and support. Take care of yourself and somebody else, and remember, we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. So be good to each other. Talk to you soon. I'm Kurt with Kurt's Card Care.